Hello, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to bring you some tips, tricks on how to identify and eventually remove buckthorn. So as always, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed today's video. So here's the down and dirty. Here are my tools for buckthorn removal. Again, having help is always going to be better. This is a spray bottle, and yep, I just repurposed one. That's what I believe in. And what I did is I did the math, and I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head, but I based it off of the fact this bottle is 32 fluid ounces. Marked 2 lines on the bottle, one for the basil oil, blue basil oil, and then a second line where it should be with the trichloropyr added to it. Now, I'm a science teacher by trade. I know there is some molecular mixing in there. It's not perfect, you know, in terms of the moles and all that good nonsense, but for us common users, this is going to be just fine. In fact, I probably, if I know me, mixed it a little heavy on trichloropyr just because I like to nuke things and kill them. So in a whole stand of buckthorn, I think I only refilled this twice or 3 times, maybe tops, and I have a ton of basil solution left, and actually quite a bit of trichloropyr. Trichloropyr is not cheap at all. My other tool, I have electric tools for everything. I'll mention them in a lot of videos, and I went with Works because that's what the first tool I got was, and I couldn't be more happy. I mean, I used this little saw for everything. And I mean, the chain needs to be sharpened for sure. And I know they make a 40 volt now, and I'd love to upgrade to that. But all I do is I walk around with this in one hand and this in the other. And I'll show you a little hack for making sure it's actually buckthorn and not cherry. Maybe I have a battery in my pocket or two, and then cut it down and then spray the whole thing. So I'm just going to show you that next. Okay, so I'm going to channel the teacher in me and also just give you some of my personal experience. And when I went out to start my buckthorn removal, I did what you're doing right now. This is how you found this video, and I searched images of what buckthorn looks like at different times of the year. The problem with that is you don't really know what to actually look for with all the different images that you're going to get. So started off with this picture right here. This is a typical image of the understory that you'd see the time of year that you're supposed to be removing the buckthorn after the trichloropyr temperatures are such that it's not volatile. So wanted to lead off with this image because, you know, if you have green, you know that that's buckthorn at this time of year. All the other leaves would be gone or brown, you know, and so this is a good starting point. Another image of some immature buckthorn in an understory in the fall. This looks pretty similar to what my property would look like in different parts. My problem obviously is that I like to hunt when I should be removing the buckthorn, and so I lose the foliage. One more image of the foliage just to give you an idea. You know, bright green when everything else has lost its leaves is a typical sign that you have buckthorn. Buckthorn identification, I took this from the Friends of the Mississippi River down here at the bottom, so thank you. The bark, it can grow up to 25 feet tall, so you can't just look for um, little shrubs that are green. The leaf pattern is probably pretty helpful with the leaves that are glossy and egg-shaped, and it kind of look like popple leaves. I'll show you some pictures of that in a minute. Have a better image of the budding. I didn't realize this before starting to create this video for you, that buckthorn gets its name from the shape that the buds can make. And the berries are a typical telltale sign of buckthorn. They are purple to almost dark black in color. Here's an image of the leaves. You know, while they're still green, they do yellow up in our area like popple leaves, but they do have a similar leaf pattern to a popple leaf. But obviously, popple leaves or popple trees have a bark that's very, very different. Some more leaves, and then also some berries. And buckthorn is a member of the alder family, and so these do look similar to like a tag alder. This is the image that I learned something today. There's your buck hoof on the terminal bud or on the budding. Some more images of the budding, so they look like hooves from different angles.
There's your berries, pretty telltale. And in the video I'm about to show you, you'll see the different berries. Got this from the Minnesota Department of Ag. Minnesota Department of Ag and also the U of M are great resources for this identification. And then just some bark comparison. You know, unfortunately, cherry, these two are both cherry, and then this one, buckthorn, are often found close together, and it's the telltale sign of the cambium layer having that orange. And it can even be more pronounced than this to give you a clue that it's actually buckthorn. And I'll show that in the different clips as well. You know, so here you got a buckthorn next to a cherry. I'm going to cover that in the video quite a bit. And then really like this image because this is what buckthorn looks like typically by the stump, and then that's what I'm used to seeing, that telltale orange sign of the buckthorn. So we're going to get into the actual video now, but I wanted to start with these different clips just to give you an idea of what to look for when you're in the field.
What we're doing right now is I'm showing you buckthorn. I'm in a CSP program, and part of that program is buckthorn removal, and you have to be very careful about the time of year that you remove the buckthorn because the chemical is volatile over a certain temperature. Now, the easiest way to tell buckthorn is obviously it stays green longer than anything else, but if you're a hunter, after everything else has lost their leaves and the buckthorn's still green, you're probably out hunting, and that's my problem. So a telltale sign of buckthorn are the berries. You know, berries will stay on for a long dang time, and then the leaves will too. And so I just wanted to kind of show you a few leaves so you can kind of get a little feel for it. They're kind of like seashell looking things, and I'll come over here to another leaf just so you get an idea of what they look like this time of year. You know, kind of like a pawpaw leaf almost, maybe, and obviously they were green. More leaves, more berries, and then in terms of the thorniness of it, it just kind of has a unique look. They're not really thorns coming off the trunk per se, but if you look up into the tree, you can see pretty much kind of a spiky appearance that comes off of the different branches, and they would hurt you. I don't know if this does it justice or not, but it's just one more look and one more distinctive feature of buckthorn. Here's the trick. If you take a pocket knife, or what I do is I use an electric saw when I'm removing this stuff, and you just take the saw and scrape the bark. You see this color, it's buckthorn. You know, sometimes you might be worried it's cherry. Cherry will scrape white, or any other species won't look this color at all. This is a distinct telltale sign that this is buckthorn, that orangish color, cambium layer it's called. While I was doing that, I found an immature buckthorn, and you can definitely see the spikes on it, along with more of that foliage that you'd look for in the buckthorn. Now, this is December 16th, and there is no foliage left whatsoever. So between the leaves, the berries, and then the cambium layer, you should get a good feel. And then another thing is, once you start cutting enough of this stuff down, you know what the bark looks like too. So kind of a cherry tree looking bark a little bit, but if you look at all those other things together, you can pretty much tell it's buckthorn, and chances are it's buckthorn. I mean, you might have some cherry somewhere, but cherry bark is going to be more barky, I guess, you know, more broken apart with thicker grooves. And this stuff is got that ugly appearance, but it is not as deep with the grooves. All right, one more shot, one more way to look at the buckthorn. This is an immature stand. This is a pine plantation on the new property that I purchased, and then the understory underneath these red pines is all buckthorn. So I guess having a lot of it is a good benefit to the people like you that want to find ways to remove it. So again, December 15th, nothing else has its leaves on it at all. The buckthorn still does. You can see with the immature buckthorn in particular, the thorns on the end. I'll give you another shot of a leaf, just so if you're out there trying to identify it, you most certainly can. You got your almost tag tag alder color bark on the new stuff, and then you got your berries too. So as this matures and gets older, the bark does get more looking like a cherry tree, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So I'm going to pan back a little bit and just show you more of this stand, and it is a bummer. And then over here behind me, that tree right there is definitely a buckthorn. There's just no doubt about it. So if you're out here trying to clear it, you look for the berries, you look for the leaves. If you could get out here earlier when the temperature's right, so the trichloropyr doesn't go volatile into the overstory, even better. But I'm bow hunting all fall when that's the case, and today would be a perfect day to come in and lop a bunch down. And best way to do it would be to have a cutter and a sprayer right behind you. You know, help is always better. So maybe we'll involve some of the BE bunch on this next go around of buckthorn abatement and removal. Where I'm at now is I'm at a cherry tree, and of all things, I'm in a place where this was infested with buckthorn. So the best way to tell, like I mentioned before, is if you cut the bark and look at the cambium layer, which is the layer of living tree, it is very different. You know, you don't have that distinct orange, you have green. And when you do this with a saw, I've noticed it's actually white compared to that orange. And so, like I mentioned in the previous clip, or one of the previous clips, what you do is you're coming through, I use my electric chainsaw. Even for one this size, it'd be fine. Just give it a quick scrape, not even that bad, and then I can easily see that it's a cherry tree. And when you get going, you're like, I don't know, is that buckthorn or not? But then on the more mature trees, cherry trees just don't have that that barky base. They stay pretty smooth. At least this is about a 6-inch in diameter, 8-inch diameter tree. And you know, next to it here, this is another cherry tree. I don't know this will live. It got kind of hinged or knocked over by a bigger tree, but I can't really compare side by side to buckthorn in this spot because I took all the buckthorn out. But I'm going to pan up the tree too, give you a better idea of more of the differences. There's no way this tree would have any foliage on it, whereas a buckthorn might. And if you go up into the branches, I know it's kind of getting dark out this time of day, but they're going to look like fresh buds almost of a maple. They're going to look succulent. They're not going to be as segmented. Okay, so hopefully you can see some of the difference there. The berries are all buckthorn berries. Yep, that makes me question how effective removal actually is. Probably thinking that. And then here's the one with the foliage on it, both buckthorn. And late foliage is a telltale sign of buckthorn, as are berries. So I'm gonna treat this one easy to get to. And because I'm a buckthorn killer, I'll probably come over and treat these too, even though this isn't my mission for the day. Can't film and cut at the same time, but what I do if I'm in a hurry and there's thousands of these to treat and I'm not sure if it was a cherry, I knew this was a buckthorn obviously, but I just run the electric saw through the bark, and if it's orange, it's buckthorn. If it's white, it is not. So I knew this was buckthorn. I knew this would be the outcome, and you can see more of those little thorny things. It's not as bad as prickly ash. I know prickly ash actually smells good if you ask me, but cut this down and treat it.
All right, there she be on the ground, and I'll just add my spray. I treat the whole dang thing. You can get by with only doing the outer ring, that's the living tissue. But I got enough, and I like to make sure everything I try to kill is dead. And this would be a lot quicker if this bottle wasn't almost empty, but boom, overkill. And then it's got an aroma, but you can definitely see which ones you treated. Just like that. Now, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but you got one cutter, one sprayer. This is gonna be like 1 + 1 = 3 in terms of the time you're gonna save. I'm gonna try something here. It's probably gonna be a little shaky, I apologize. So I would bet money that this is a cherry tree, but it is within
an infestation of buckthorn. And at first, and if you're probably watching this because you're worried and you're new to this, and you want to get the right trees. At first, I was not able to tell the difference. So what I'm doing right now, I'm filming with one hand, and that's why it's hopefully not making you seasick. And then with the other hand, I'm gonna take the saw here, I'm gonna cut the bark, and I'm gonna show you it's white. You know, you'll never see this if I'm wrong. Okay, that's not buckthorn. Okay, so the green and white, I guess that means it's all right. All right, just wanted to give that tip to you one more time. Thank you for watching today's video. I apologize at the length. I know it did get a little long in terms of explaining how to remove buckthorn, but I wanted to give you my experience and try to put together a video that I would have wanted to use as I was going through this process. So as always, I appreciate your viewership. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please drop them below, and please like and subscribe to help my channel grow. As always, thank you for watching, and it's a great day to be outdoors.